Hi guys, Rose here with the Cackling Moon. This is going to be a client's Tomb of Egypt reading. This is one of the new readings that I have available in the shop. And I have their email open, so let's go in. I've always been drawn to everything Egyptian, and I swear I have at least one past life in this culture. So excited to see what comes up for me in this reading. Things have been really great lately, taking it one day at a time, enjoying my relationship, my everyday life, and my business, of course. I often go through ups and downs and feel that I have some residual trauma, maybe stress is a better word, regarding things that happened in my love life last year, but I'm doing well overall. Just a little context. Okay, so you didn't really mention a question, but I'm going to assume we're going to be diving in about this residual trauma and just feeling stress. It seems there's stress or questions, worry regarding, it could be maybe patterns having to do with your relationship, things like that. The way that the Tomb of Egypt reading goes is I pull from both the tarot and the oracle. So I'm going to be working with the Nefertari's tarot as well as Madame Endora's fortune cards for your reading. And I have a set spread here. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 card spread. And we're just going to start diving in. So I'm just going to take some time to kind of focus and shuffle, and then we'll begin. Okay. So what this reading does is it gives a shadow side perspective to a situation. So the situation that we're going to be reading about is your, because everything in your present life, according to what you have said, is going great. But that you do experience, there's our oracle card, that you do experience, I often go through ups and downs, and I feel that I have some residual trauma, maybe stress is a better word, regarding things that happened in your love life last year. So I think that that's what's going to be our main focus. Okay, so the oracle card is going to be the last one we pull. I'm going to set out the cards, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start flipping them over. So we have the journey begins, the direction that you are headed, and the potential block or challenge. We have a rational perspective, your spiritual perspective, and then we also have the oracle card at the very top, which will conclude the Tomb of Egypt. Okay, so as you can kind of see, it's kind of like a pyramid shape. Okay. So the journey begins, the energy of your question, and you have the Ace of Wands. So the energy surrounding your question, we're looking at your love life. We're looking at the past. We're looking at, the traumas and the, your feelings surrounding what may have taken place in the past. With an Ace of Wands, I feel like you guys are in one of those relationships where you begin again, start again. And when you begin again, you have the brand new feelings of flirtation and progress and excitement. The high sexual energy, all of that, and then it fizzles out. And then something happens, and then you guys start over again, and it's like a cycle all over again of the same feelings that you once had before. I feel like with the Ace of Wands, it's kind of like you guys are chasing that initial emotion, that initial connection that you guys had together when you first got together. Things that have taken place perhaps in the past with your relationship ending and then starting over again can also trigger things in your present right now. The fear of it falling back to that, the fear of not having the sexual attraction. Maybe that fizzles out here and there, where you were once really attracted to this person, and then you'll go through a time where they just don't do it for you anymore. But you still love them and you still care about them. Like, that's the kind of vibe I'm getting. I'm also feeling like you miss the times when your conversations were really interesting, when everything felt brand new and exciting. I feel like you miss that initial feeling as well. Things get boring when you're when you're in a long-term relationship. You know, it does get boring. We have to do things to keep it exciting, and I feel like that's also something you struggle with. The direction that you're headed with this relationship, we have the Five of Wands. So definitely the two of you, you know, if you've already been feeling it, maybe you have that psychic sense where you can kind of have a feeling of something coming, whether it's a negative or just a bad moment. You get these feelings inside that you know what's about to happen. With the Five of Wands, I'm seeing arguments. I'm seeing confrontations and conflict. I'm seeing that the two of you are going to be kind of butting heads. And this may be the reason why you have that residual trauma. You feel like it's that time of your relationship where you guys are supposed to be quarreling, you guys are supposed to be arguing and whatnot, and then you're going to kind of break away, and then you're going to go do your own thing, and then you guys are going to come back again. I feel like that's what you guys do. That's kind of like a theme here. I also feel like intuitively, I feel like if you guys don't go this cycle, you're scared of what would happen. It's kind of like this is normal for you guys. It's normal for you to have the passion, the fiery energy, and then it fizzles out and you guys are like in the slumps. You guys are going through, you know, conflict and confrontation. And then you know that it's going to eventually die down, and in that initial sexual attraction, that fire, that flame is going to be reignited again. And then you'll be in a good place. So it's almost like you expect this to happen. So if that is for the direction that you are headed, I would be very careful. One, that there might be things taking place, and I should probably rearrange this so that you could see it. I would be very, very careful with the way that you guys conduct your relationship, especially within the next, I'm hearing 3 months. Something's going to happen. And I don't want to scare you and say it's going to be bad, but I'm getting that vibe that in the next 3 months, something is going to take place that's going to really shift your relationship. And it's going to be either like something dealing with a job. I'm hearing job. I'm hearing just kind of work. Maybe his line of work is going to be a little bit more aggressive, and he's going to need to be around there a lot longer. Or it's going to shift, and there's going to be a process of needing to move things around and rearrange stuff. Something's going to happen. But I feel like you've already known it, or you've already been sensing it. Like, you're very intuitive that way. You have that ability. You just have that like psychic sense where I want to say it's claircognizant, where that psychic knowing, like that something's going to happen. You've been feeling it. Okay, let's see the third card. We have the potential challenge or a block. And we got the Five of Swords. Yeah, potential challenge or a block. Now, Two fives. The 5 cards in the tarot are generally problematic cards. You know, this is someone talking behind your back. This is, you know, a lot of chisme, and the way we say it, chisme or gossip, that's going on. Something's being said, words are being said. Maybe he's not sticking up for you in an argument, or someone's saying something about you and he's not standing up to you, and it's making you second guess his real intentions or his feelings, like something like that. This could also be, you know, another person coming into the mix that's kind of throwing everything off kilter. It's kind of making you guys rocking the foundation of your relationship a little bit. This other person could be either from his perspective or yours, but this could be someone else that's kind of shaking the foundation. You guys had something really good going, and then now things are kind of looking like, I don't know, is this meant to be? But the 2 5s is definitely problematic cards that are making me wonder what's going to be happening, what's going to be taking place in this future, because I'm feeling like the direction you guys are headed is not a very positive one. You know, and when I read very honestly. I don't like to sugarcoat things too much. I'm not going to say, oh, you guys are going to be fine, blah, blah, blah. I feel like this is a cycle that you are used to doing. Like, this is something that is actually considered normal in your guys' relationship. So that's why I'm saying, like, you're headed for that same cycle, but do you want to break that, or do you want to, you know, do you want to go through with it? And trust that you guys are going to come back around and come back to this, falling in love all over again, apologies, that kind of thing. Or is someone going to break free? Or are you guys going to take your relationship the opposite direction, and instead of letting it go towards fighting and, you know, a possible split up and that kind of thing, you guys are going to really work towards making this relationship work? That's what I'm saying. Okay, so the next one is the rational perspective and your spiritual perspective. So the rational is of the mind. This is of what your what your brain is telling you should do. The spiritual perspective is of having faith. And so the brain is telling you, we have the sun. So your rational perspective is telling you, you guys need to focus on the happy moments. You guys need to focus on why your relationship is as strong as it is, and power through that. Recognizing, you know, all of the struggles that you guys have encountered and you guys have gone through this far, and remembering how special, you know, your relationship is and how special you guys are to one another. Looking at the good times. Don't be focusing on the negatives or the bad things, you know. I think that that's what your rational, your mind is telling you to do. It's saying focus on the positives. Focus on the future. Focus on, you know, the good things. Don't dwell so much on all of this other negative stuff. If people are talking about you behind your back, or, you know, that kind of thing, don't worry about that. Don't focus on that kind of stuff. This is more so, you know, focusing on the positives. Okay, so now we're going to look at the spiritual aspect of it. So like I said, this is having faith. This is, you know, the other side that we're talking about, the opposite of the rational. And your spiritual side is telling you with a 7 of Wands. It's kind of like giving you the same message. And I feel like this is saying battling the outside rather than attacking each other, because I feel like that's kind of like what you guys do. You kind of nitpick at each other. You tackle on maybe things that you did or he did in the past. It's like you bring back old, you know, old shit. The 7 of Wands is telling me it's like battling the outside attackers. Because I see here with the alligators. Sorry. I see that with the alligators, how they're like coming up to eat. He's pushing them away with his rod here, or with the wand, I should say. I feel like that's, you know, symbolic for outside people, outside influences, people who don't have good intentions, people who have opinions of your relationship, whatever it is, the talkers, you know, the gossip that we were talking about earlier, pushing and focusing on that. Maybe working to get that out of the way, get rid of those negatives, so you guys can focus on your relationship in a different way rather than attacking one another. Because attacking one another, obviously in the past, it's obviously shown that it's not getting you guys anywhere. It's only causing more problems, and I feel like perhaps if you guys can chip away at the other issues, that's what's gonna change. That's what's gonna help you guys. Sorry, my camera just does not want to stay put. Okay. Okay, and then the last card we have the outcome, or the oracle card. We have the Wyvern. Your secrets are safe. Now, you know, if this is in terms of secrets from each other, know that sometimes, and I'm just going to give this piece of advice, sometimes things are better left unsaid. Sometimes we don't have to reveal everything. If you know that if you were never say it or never share those feelings, those inside emotions, you don't share whatever it is, maybe the situation will be a lot better without that. You know what I mean? Sometimes, you know, when you're in a committed relationship with someone for so long, it's good to be honest and it's good to be transparent. But I also feel like there's times where we have certain thoughts, we have feelings, but sometimes it's better to just keep that to ourselves rather than expressing and telling them what's going on in our mind and in our heart. Especially if you don't expect to act on those feelings, to act on those, you know, that initial thought. Why even bring it up? I guess that's where I'm getting at. And I really feel like intuitively that's what's coming through here with your secrets are safe. You're a human being. Your feelings, you know, your lack of feelings or passion at times, it's normal, you know, especially when you've been in a relationship for so long, it's normal to feel that way. But it doesn't mean you got to go run and tell him everything on your heart, you know. I mean, sometimes it's just better not to say anything at all, especially if you have no intention of doing anything about it. That's my own personal advice. Take it or leave it. Everyone's different, but that's my own personal advice. Sometimes it's just better to spare just spare the feelings of someone else and just don't share everything. Sometimes it's just better to do it that way. And maybe in the past, that's what was going on. Maybe you did do that. Maybe you were an open book with every relationship that you were in. Even if you had no intention of hurting that person, you would still tell them, well, I still think about my ex, or I see someone and I wish that we had that, or I envy their relationship, or I envy their sex life, or whatever it is. Maybe you were like that. But as you grow older and the more committed you are with a single person, sometimes it's just better not to share everything. You know, you're still, it's not like you're being dishonest to them. It's just, if you have no intention of acting on your feelings and doing anything really about it, then why even share it? So that's what I'm really feeling here with this, your secrets are safe. I also feel like in terms of your relationship, staying private. Don't make it a public thing for other people to look at and judge. There's so many people on the outside, like these alligators we're seeing, or the chisme that I was catching on. There's so many outsiders that will always have an opinion about your relationship. They will always have something to say. And maybe like your secrets are safe card is good to remind yourself that sometimes your relationship being private is a good thing. Sometimes it's better that way. It's better to keep it private. It's better to you know, keep your guys' relationship to yourselves instead of putting it out for everyone to see and judge. And that might diminish some of these 5 cards that we got here, you know. I feel like your relationship does go through a cycle. I feel like you go through the initial attraction and then it fizzles out and then something happens. You guys break up and then you come back and you do it all over again. And I feel like you're coming towards that again, and I know that you feel that too. I feel like you're psychic enough to sense on that, and I feel like that's what you feel like this 5 of Wands that we got here. You know it's coming, and I feel like you're wondering if you should, you know, tap out of this relationship perhaps, or if you should really fight for it. And I feel like your cards are telling you it's not what's inside, it's the outside. It is outside people perspective. It's the people on the outside that are causing this. And just because you feel like it's time for your relationship to go through its yearly cycle of breakup, makeup, sometimes you don't have to do that. Break that cycle. If you really truly love this person and you see happiness in a future with him, fall for that, you know, keep going for that end result. but you got to battle outside perspectives. This is people who are judging. This is people who are trying to come in between your relationship. You know, this could be people you're talking to or he's talking to that are flirting and whatnot, and you know that you shouldn't be doing that. It could be a lot of different things. But I do feel like your relationship is headed towards a little bit of conflict, a little bit of people just kind of meddling and getting involved when they shouldn't. So how you choose to interact with that is up to you guys. But sometimes it's better. I'm just saying as a piece of advice, sometimes some things are better left unsaid. It's not going to hurt anyone if you don't say anything. And especially if you have the intention to make your relationship work and keep it strong, then, you know, that's going to be the main goal there. So this concludes your Tomb of Egypt reading. I hope that you liked it. I hoped it answered questions. I know you'll message me in private and whatnot, so I look forward to hearing from you. And thank you so much for supporting the Cackling Moon. Anyone who's interested, this is the Tomb of Egypt reading. Check the links in the description box. They'll take you to my shop, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.